This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. People who live in a 55-plus social housing complex are getting fed up with safety issues and deteriorating living conditions. They say the problem started when tenants with a history of homelessness began moving into the building. As CBC's Josh Crabb reports, the landlord is trying to find a balance between serving existing residents and those in need of housing.
You pay rent here, do you? Well, get the hell out of here.
A man who appeared to be intoxicated followed someone into the Canadian-Polish manor on Selkirk Avenue. Tenants told him to leave, and he did. But 73-year-old Richard Stein says he's getting fed up with playing security guard in the 55-plus building.
This is what we go through 24/7.
He's around a dozen tenants who told CBC News they don't feel safe anymore. 62-year-old Allison Bailey says things started going downhill last summer.
They just brought in anybody, and that's when a lot of the problems really started.
Tenants say there's open drug use, discarded needles, and theft, including copper wiring stripped from the machines in laundry rooms. They say police, firefighters, and paramedics are called frequently. Frida Campbell says someone recently discharged what she believes was bear spray in the hallway on the floor she lives on.
That's when I went to my door and I looked out to people, and then I guess I got hit by it.
She started using this security bar on her door to prevent people from breaking in. The head of the nonprofit, which owns and runs the rent-geared-to-income social housing complex, doesn't dispute the concerns. Winnipeg Housing Rehabilitation Corporation Executive Director James Heinrichs acknowledges there are issues which have gotten worse over the past year. He says they do work with social agencies to provide housing for people with a history of homelessness, but he says no one is coming directly from encampments.
We had a significant amount of vacant suites throughout our buildings, and we really wanted to work with social service agencies on providing supports to individuals so that they're not homeless.
Heinrich says issues can arise when people who move in with social support later refuse to continue receiving help. He says they deal with reported incidents and issues on a case-by-case basis, and breaking the rules can lead to eviction. But tenants are running out of patience, and some want to move out. And have you thought of leaving?
Where am I going to go?
They say everyone has a right to housing, but worry gaps in support are making them vulnerable. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Animal cruelty charges have been laid against a 17-year-old. Police allege the teen drove over a number of geese with an SUV, killing most of them. But police say it didn't just happen once, but 3 separate times in the span of about half an hour. CBC's Gavin Axelrod reports, and a warning, some people may find the upcoming video upsetting.
This is one of the incidents where police allege a 17-year-old drove over and killed geese with an SUV on Saturday night. This one happened around 10:17 p.m. at a parking lot on Sterling Line Parkway. Animal rights activists in Winnipeg are angry and upset.
It's really, really sick and really disturbing to know that people out there are just seeking to harm animals.
Police say the half-hour spree began around 9:53 p.m. when a sleeping goose was driven over and injured in a parking lot on Henlow Bay. Minutes later, 2 sleeping geese were driven over and killed in a separate parking lot in the same bay.
Just a lot of shock today as things have unfolded, and really horrifying the details of it as it's made its way through media and through different forums.
Canada geese are a protected species. It's illegal to kill, harm, or disturb them, their nests, or eggs without a federal permit. They can be hunted during designated seasons. V. Victoria Schroff is an animal rights lawyer based out of Vancouver.
It's incumbent on people to realize that whether or not they know the law or they don't know the law, that to treat all wildlife with respect.
The teen faces 5 charges of killing or injuring animals. Winnipeg police also briefed conservation officers on the incident.
You've got the federal laws, then you've got the provincial wildlife laws, and you potentially have municipal laws. So you have an overlay of several areas of law, several jurisdictions that could actually come in and say, you know what, we need to look at this as well. We may be pressing charges.
She also says more education on animal rights is needed for people of all ages.
We're not talking about damage to a toaster or damage to some inanimate object. We're talking about damage to a sentient being with feelings who can feel pain.
The 17-year-old was released from custody with a court date. Police say the investigation continues. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
One person is dead and 2 others injured after a fight at a Winnipeg housing complex. Officers were called to a bloody scene on Stella Walk early Monday morning where multiple people were assaulted. Police had the area outside at least 4 units of one building taped off Monday morning. Another building with blood on a door was also under investigation. Police say a 27 and 23-year-old man were found outside and a third man found in a nearby suite. All had serious injuries and one later died. He has been identified as 49-year-old Robson Isaac Sinclair. Police say one of the injured men was 23-year-old Elroy Ross, who's now been charged with manslaughter and aggravated assault. Homelessness isn't just an issue in major cities. It's hitting communities in every corner of the country, and Manitoba is no different. It often goes hand in hand with mental health. So what can happen if workers who deal with both team up and work together to help people struggling? Well, that's what's happening in Steinbach. CBC's Christopher Garreau reports.
Suffering from severe anxiety, Brandon Black knew he needed help, so he asked for it. Eden Healthcare Services brought him to Linden Place in Winkler, where others struggling with mental health issues can start on their path to independence. It's a place that gave him the stability and confidence to plan his future.
I want to get my own place after this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Steinbach Community Outreach wants to do the same thing for people in its city. They've already built affordable housing in Steinbach, but a new partnership with Eden Health will offer in-house mental health services. Manager Charlene Craker reached out to Eden Health to design a new 30-unit apartment building after an experience with a client made her realize just how much homelessness and mental health go hand in hand.
She got angry at her landlord, ended up getting evicted. And part of this was, had she gotten access to mental health on the first day when we had brought her in and gotten her meds adjusted, that would not have happened and she would not have ended up homeless.
Steinbach Council voiced its support at a meeting earlier this month. Eden Health has already teamed up with Central Community Homes and Central Station Community Center in Winkler to open 24/7 mental health care access in 28 apartments. It's a housing-first model meant to keep people from living on the street for good.
It doesn't matter if you have addictions, mental health issues, just whatever range of challenges in your life. If you have a safe place to live that you can afford, you can get the other pieces together.
Tenants gain skills they need to live in a place they can call their own. Cooking, budgeting, solving conflicts, and getting out into the community are all part of the programming.
Help me kind of get on my shell and talk more.
Steinbach Community Outreach says about 1,000 people walk through its doors each year. Its hope is that soon, people will be walking through doors to places that they can call their own. Christopher Garreau, CBC News, Steinbach.
Manitoba could impose billion-dollar fines on big tech companies that ignore social media bans. The Premier says enforcement will focus on companies, not youth. This is the first time Wabkanu has answered questions since announcing the pending ban Saturday. He says legislation will prioritize going after large tech companies. That means fines would be primarily levied against Meta and TikTok rather than teenage users or families. And he says those fines will be big.
Facebook, Meta, they're going to spend more money on data centers this year than the entire size of all of Manitoba's economy. Like for a company that's going to spend tens of billions of dollars on chips this year, what is a $100 million fine? It's nothing. So the enforcement is going to have to include a fine framework, and they're going to be bigger fines than you ever seen in Manitoba before, probably with some numbers that have B's in them.
When asked about collecting on those fines, Canoe said they already successfully enforced PST on out-of-province companies that do business in Manitoba. Let's bring in Riley now. Riley, it felt more like fall outside than spring today.
Yeah, I mean, certainly a little off the mark temperature-wise from seasonal again today, Brittany. 6 degrees in Winnipeg. Was hoping for that 7, didn't quite get there through the afternoon. Brandon at 5, Dauphin 4, and close to the freezing mark, which is still several degrees off normal, even into parts of northern Manitoba. I know I sound like a broken record when I say that, but there is a bit of a page turn on the horizon. I'll get into that as we get through the show this evening. I mean, a bit of a brighter start to the day in parts of southern Manitoba, but that cloud has started to push in. And it's been a bit stubborn as we've gotten throughout the day today. Even some scattered precipitation through the Riding Mountain region and into parts of the Parkland, for example, through the afternoon. So not quite done with the cloud cover. I do think we'll start to get into some clearing through the overnight hours. -3 in Winnipeg. The wind does start to lighten up again as we get through the night. Maybe a bit breezy at times through the day tomorrow. Expect something maybe similar to a little bit brighter, Brittany, as we get through the day. And temperatures, again, we'll try for 7 tomorrow afternoon.
All right, here's hoping.
Yes.
Thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, we have much more local news after this, and hopefully that starts to green up shortly. We'll be back. Stay with us. "16-year-old Aisha Hudson was shot to death by a Winnipeg police officer following a car crash in 2020. But did racial stereotypes play a role in the fatal shooting of the First Nations teen? One expert says it's possible. That testimony was heard Tuesday at an inquest into the teen's death. CBC's Caitlin Gowerluck was in court and has more.
The officer who killed Aisha Hudson said he thought the 16-year-old First Nations girl was an Indigenous male, but told the inquest into her death in February that belief didn't affect his actions. On Tuesday, an expert testifying in the inquest said he thinks racial stereotypes could have enhanced the officer's fear or perception of danger, even if it was unconscious. Police racism expert Scott Wortley said he was struck by the testimony that the officer identified that he believed the individual was Indigenous and male, and said gender and race are two things that can contribute to use of force. Aisha Hudson was shot and killed by police after a chase in Winnipeg in April 2020. She was an Ojibwe member of Barons River First Nation. Court heard she was driving a stolen Jeep when some of the other teens in the vehicle robbed a liquor store. Police started the pursuit after an employee reported the theft, describing the suspects as Indigenous youth. The inquest into her death won't assign blame, but it will look at whether systemic racism played a role and whether the use of force was appropriate. Expert Wortley testified, "We can't know for sure what police were thinking in the moment they used force on someone, and it's unlikely an officer would ever say racism affected their actions, even if they were aware of it. But having better data could help us understand how race affects policing at all levels." Wortley also said other changes, like more training for police on things like reconciliation and the child welfare system, could be helpful. The inquest into Aisha Hudson's death is still expected to hear from other experts. It's scheduled to continue until June. Caitlin Gowerluck, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Labour leaders and officials marked the annual Workers' Day of Mourning. A march was held Tuesday from the Union Centre to the Workers' Memorial, where a vigil for fallen workers was held. A separate ceremony was also held at City Hall. This year, 2 longtime firefighters were added to Winnipeg's commemorative honour roll. Both died last year from work-related illness. The United Firefighters of Winnipeg say it's a dangerous job with ongoing risks.
Both of those members died as a result of occupational exposure, cancer sustained in the line of duty, which continues to be the ¡1 killer of firefighters across North America. And, not only do we remember their sacrifice to their communities today, but we acknowledge, the fight we have ahead of us.
The National Day of Mourning was launched by the Canadian Labour Congress and is now observed in more than 100 countries around the world. The province has called down a state of emergency at 2 northern hospitals. On Monday, the Northern Health Region declared an emergency at hospital wards in the PA and Thompson due to staffing shortages. But Manitoba's health minister says it was called prematurely and has been lifted. Manitoba Nurses Union President Darlene Jackson says staffing issues at northern hospitals are the norm.
This is not something that's just happened. This is long-standing. It's been going on, I think, for probably close to 2 years. So I'm not sure this is actually would be considered an emergency. I think it's, more of a lack of planning and a lack of attention paid to retention and recruitment of nurses.
Officials with the union and health region are set to meet on Wednesday. A medical clinic owned by the town of Niverville is expanding. A ribbon cutting this morning unveiled the new exam rooms, bringing the total to 15. That includes 2 for medical procedures. The town bought Open Health Niverville in 2020 for $1. Since then, the clinic has made enough money to pay for the $250,000 expansion itself. Niverville says it got into the medical business because it needs more doctors to keep up with population growth.
As we move our community to 12,000 people here over the next decade, we're really looking forward to some very large expansions when it comes down to our medical care facility in our community.
Now 15 doctors serve more than 200 people per day at the clinic. The Canadian Football League will kick off its season earlier in 2027 and make changes to its playoff format. Next year, the CFL's regular season will begin the Victoria Day weekend in May. That's the earliest start ever. The league aims to capitalize on long weekends throughout the season as well as move up the postseason, taking advantage of more seasonal temperatures. The bigger change is the playoff format. 8 of the league's 9 teams will make the postseason and play 3 rounds before the Grey Cup game rather than 2. The The CFL was already set to undergo changes to its playing field next year, with reduced field sizes and shortened end zones. Goalposts will also be moved to the back of the end zone with the aim of increasing touchdowns. Riley's back in now, and one thing I think football fans will be excited for is an earlier Grey Cup.
Yes.
Especially when you're sitting outside in Winnipeg, we know that can get quite chilly.
Yeah, and snowy.
And snowy, right? So maybe that earlier season, but lots of changes for people to take in.
Yeah, and I mean, the start time, too, close to the May long weekend there, typically we're into some warmer weather by then, too.
Not yet.
I say typically. I know, I sound like
we still have a couple weeks to go.
Yeah, I sound like a broken record when I say that we're close to turning the page, and we are close to turning the page. Maybe it's temporary, maybe it's not. Let's take a look at the 10-day temperature trend. This gives us a look at where we're going temperature-wise. So we are looking at some warmer temperatures, certainly as we get into the weekend here, and you can kind of see that reflected on the graph here as we see that temperature climbing close to 20 degrees by the weekend. Normal high for this time of the year is 15. So we are getting close to that by the time we get to the end of the week, and then we drop slightly once again to end the month. Some of the longer range forecast models are actually showing things warming up closer to the 8th or 9th of May and climbing close to that 18, 19 degree mark by the time we get there. So, I mean, still looking at things remaining slightly below seasonal. Maybe you didn't want to hear that, but the overnight temperatures, at least in the south, are trending close to or just above the freezing mark. So temperatures start to warm up slowly, even though we're still sitting below seasonal here for the next little bit, at least it seems, across much of the province. So as we get through the night tonight, looking at that cloud clearing out again, still some stubborn cloud cover hanging around parts of central and northern Manitoba, but building high pressure to the west will really start to shove this and nudge it out of the way. So I think by the time we get into Thursday, things are certainly a lot brighter. I think even into Wednesday across southern Manitoba, things start to look a lot brighter. I know we got trapped under some of that cloud cover today, and that did help to keep temperatures back as well into the single digits. So we should start to turn the page on that. By the time we get to Thursday, then we're into a mostly sunny sky with some cloud in and out as we get toward the end of the week. Certainly I'm looking at things remaining slightly cloudier into northern Manitoba as we head toward the weekend, but things will start to warm up through the southern half of the province, and that's because we do have a building ridge in the jet stream here. So we've been in this trough. That's what's allowed some of that cooler air to push in as we've gotten throughout the past couple of days here. But you'll notice by the end of the week, this ridge starting to build in the jet stream to the east of us. This will start to push some slightly warmer air north and eastward as we get to the beginning of next week. So that's when I'm looking at that warm up being into the weekend before we start to see some cooler air nudging its way back in toward the middle of the week again. So we're kind of playing tug of war with the jet stream here on what side of that we end up on. For now, at least remaining cool, close to the freezing mark again across southern Manitoba as we get through the morning hours tomorrow. 7 degrees the next couple of days in Winnipeg, a bit brighter by the time we get toward the end of the week. 15 for Friday, Brittany, and up to 19 on the way for Saturday.
Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, not a bad day to take the pup out for a walk, even if it was a bit breezy again. We have much more straight ahead. Stay with us. The Liberals have delivered their spring economic update. Already revealed the Sovereign Wealth Fund, a nation-building investment vehicle announced Monday by the Prime Minister. But as Kate McKenna explains, it also includes a program that's designed to help both the economy and young workers.
Un plaisir. Merci tout le monde.
Carney's government says it wants to get more big things built. The spring economic update includes new plans to find workers to do it.
We're building Canada strong for all, because when we do, there's no limit.
New numbers from the government show the Canadian economy has remained stable, doing better than expected despite tariffs and international upheaval.
In the short term, a little bit of resilience, which is giving us a bit of a revenue pop that the government's been able to spend.
The deficit is less than was projected at $67 billion, boosted by strong oil and gas revenues and more tax dollars than expected.
Well, since the fall budget, there was a bit of a $60 billion windfall kind of spread over the 5 years, which has allowed the government to spend about that much in new measures.
These are serious times, and Canadians expect prudent fiscal management. We are very mindful that affordability is top of mind for Canadians.
The spring economic update includes $37 billion in new spending, a key new initiative to recruit, train, and hire up to 100,000 skilled trades workers. It will cost up to $6 billion and will include money for companies to get up to $10,000 in wage incentives. Plus bonuses for completing training and fully funded training for Canadians who join the reserves.
That we've been really focused on the question of how we not only attract people to the trades, but I think importantly, as union trainers and colleges have indicated, how we get people through the training.
Canadians and employers will also get a small break on contributing to the Canada Pension Plan. It should save an employee earning $70,000 about $130 annually.
Much remains to be done, but we are building a Canada that is strong and fair, a Canada that is not just for some, most of the time, but for all at all times.
In spite of the better than expected outlook, the government is still grappling with a lot of uncertainty, with global pressures, including the pending review of the North American Free Trade Agreement. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
King Charles and Queen Camilla have had a packed itinerary on the second day of their U.S. trip. It included a White House visit to see U.S. President Donald Trump and an address to the U.S. Congress. While the historic allies focused on the common bond, there's also a shared scandal that's overshadowing this royal visit. Lisa Shing reports. King Charles touching on a wide range of subjects in his address to Congress here on Capitol Hill, talking about how the two countries have a history of intelligence sharing and cultural exchanges. The main theme, however, was on the unity between the two countries, the centuries of shared history, saying that they don't always agree with each other, but that they have that history, they have an alliance that shouldn't be broken.
I pray with all my heart that our alliance will continue to defend our shared values with our partners in Europe and the Commonwealth and across the world. And that we ignore the clarion calls to become ever more inward-looking.
Now, there was a question of whether Charles would acknowledge the fact that the survivors of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in this speech, and in fact, he did in a somewhat subtle way, but there was a nod to it.
In both of our countries, it is the very fact of our vibrant, diverse, and free societies that gives us our collective strength, including to support victims of some of the ills that so tragically exist in both our societies today.
King Charles also underscored the importance of the NATO alliance, considering that in recent weeks we heard Trump calling into question his support for that alliance, given the tension between the two countries right now. And Charles also acknowledging what happened over the weekend, the assassination attempt on the U.S. president, saying that kind of violence will not be tolerated. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Washington. A mother in Nova Scotia says she's still trying to understand how her child's medical records went missing for more than 2 months. She has nothing but praise for her son's care while he was in the Halifax hospital. But as Michael Gorman reports, questions remain about what happened after they left.
By all accounts, Caden Talomi is happy and healthy, but it was a very different situation in late January.
How he got sick was so sudden and terrifying. We thought we were going to lose him.
Caden was experiencing constant seizures. He was rushed to his local hospital and then transferred to the IWK, where he was in the ICU for more than a week. Hutz has nothing but praise for the care Caden received, but she grew concerned when for more than 2 months the hospital could not find his treatment records or test results. Initially, the IWK didn't even have proof he'd been there.
I was shocked. I was confused, and after that, someone did say, okay, we'll find this, and then I still wasn't getting any callbacks, wasn't hearing from any of the follow-up appointments. Like, he had a bunch of genetic testing, blood tests done, everything, and just not finding anything out.
Most of Caden's records were finally found last week. While she doesn't have a full explanation, Hutz says someone from the IWK told her the missing records could be associated with the hospital's transition to the new electronic medical record system. The IWK did not make someone available for an interview, but in a statement, a senior official said that with major system transitions, there can be isolated cases of information not appearing when and where clinicians expect. Quote, when this occurs, it is taken very seriously and reviewed promptly. We have no evidence of a systemic issue resulting in permanent loss of entire patient records. We continue to monitor system performance closely and work with our provincial partners to address any workflow or integration challenges that are identified. The new record system is scheduled to roll out in the province's Central Health Zone May 9th.
The point of this is to have a centralized repository for people's information, for their imaging, for their diagnostics, all of those things that can be easily accessed by a variety of providers. So, that is the point of the project. And again, I haven't heard that it's widespread. That case will obviously give us information about how that happened.
Hutz is glad to finally have the records, but she's still awaiting some test results and a fulsome explanation.
They were wonderful at that hospital. Like, it's no pointing fingers or anything. We just want answers. That's it. Like, these things can happen, right? But I would like to get a follow-up or a call or something.
Michael Gorman, CBC News, Canning.
How do you think you, your kids, or even your pets would handle a 3 a.m. sunrise during the summer? That's what some in northern Manitoba could face if Manitoba moves to permanent standard time. The idea of scrapping the twice-yearly time change in favor of standard time year-round was floated last week by Premier Wab Kinew. But how would our days change if we switched to daylight or standard time in Manitoba? CBC weather specialist Riley Lachuk gives us a look.
How do you like your daylight hours and when? That's the question Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew is asking as the province considers scrapping the twice-yearly time change between standard time and daylight saving time.
In potentially switching it up, Kinew will be changing a time pattern that's been in place for over 100 years. DST was introduced for the first time in Manitoba in 1918 as an energy conservation measure in the First World War. It remained a hot topic of debate in the province for years afterwards, with urban Winnipeggers and rural Manitobans taking different sides.
A lot of communities, particularly urban communities, saw the merit in having that extra daylight hour to carry on their leisure activities, go golfing, or the amateur sports people were in the ballparks. And then it became a country-city kind of a thing. And the farmers, of course, said, look, we're not dictated by fiddling around with the clock. Our cows have to be milked at a certain hour.
Daylight saving time survived that debate in the 1960s.
And now this month, a huge change.
The question for us is whether we want to move to, permanent daylight time, permanent standard time.
Here's how each of those menu items would impact daylight here in Manitoba.
The permanent daylight time centers on whether the benefits of lighter evenings outweigh the risks of darker mornings. This option comes with increased evening sunlight, great for outdoor recreation and retail. The downside? Later sunrises. In winter, walking kids to school in the dark, and some experts say reduced sleep quality. Permanent standard time ensures earlier sunrises during winter, which experts like the Canadian Sleep Society say support better sleep and morning alertness. This option comes with a side of earlier sunset times in the summer compared to daylight time. It might cancel those late-night soccer games and make the evenings in the fall and winter darker faster.
Now, these options could make a huge difference depending on where you are in the province.
Let's take the longest day of the year in Manitoba, which usually falls on June 21st. In Winnipeg on June 21st, the sunrise is at 5:20 a.m. under daylight saving time. If we switch to permanent standard time, that sunrise becomes 4:20 a.m. Good luck to all the parents with young kids out there. In the northern part of the province in Churchill, though, that sunrise is even earlier than in Winnipeg. So under daylight saving time, the average sunrise is 4:06 a.m. With permanent standard time, it becomes a 3:06 a.m. sunrise. Sunsets right now in Winnipeg for June 21st are at 9:41. If we switch to standard time all year, that sunset would be at 8:41. And 9:30 p.m. in Churchill, which gets about 2 hours more daylight during the summer compared to the south.
Depending on what the Premier decides, that could mean a whole lot of bedtime changes for many Manitobans. Riley Lachuk, CBC News, Winnipeg.
He is a global pop star that you might not recognize, but he's one that is taking over Canada's largest venues and even performing at Coachella. We'll introduce you to two of them next. Well, many of us have heard of K-pop music, but there's another genre that's seeing a global surge in popularity, Punjabi pop. Two of its biggest names are currently touring across Canada and stopping in Winnipeg next month. As the CBC's Ina Sidhu reports, concert tickets are selling fast.
Evidence of Punjabi music's explosion in worldwide popularity. Two of its superstars launching Canadian tours simultaneously. And something else is new. Diljit Dosanjh and Karan Aujla are playing the largest venues, starting with Dosanjh at Vancouver's BC Place.
I listen to him every single day, I promise. In the shower, he's my alarm song.
We feel proud of him, but we see ourselves in him.
According to Spotify, streams of Punjabi music have risen sharply in recent years. YouTube Music Canada has ranked Aujla among Canada's top 3 artists every week this year. Dosanjh consistently lands in the top 15. One reason, collaborations with Western artists, helping reach entirely new audiences.
The demand is there as someone like a Kendrick or a Drake, I'd say. It's like we're seeing these shows sell out at equal paces.
Dosanjh's last North American tour, 13 dates in all, generated more than $63 million US, a number that could be surpassed this year by both he and Aujla.
We're expecting a lot of travel from international people to come to their shows.
The impact is even reaching the classroom. Toronto Metropolitan University just wrapped up its first ever course focused on Dosanjh.
What started as grassroots organizations, small shows behind the scenes, have now become stadium scale like performances across the world.
Both Diljit Dosanjh and Karan Aujla's tours make 5 Canadian stops: Vancouver, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Toronto, and here at the Saddle Dome. Ina Sidhu, CBC News, Calgary.
Riley, just shows how much smaller the world is getting, that we're exposed to so many things too now. Love that.
Absolutely.
Loving the weather? I don't know.
Hey, you know what? It was a sunny start today.
It was. It wasn't bad. And you know what? It may have been a little windy out there, but those temperatures are starting to increase.
Yeah, absolutely. As we get deeper into spring here, we'll see things warming up. Yeah. Bit of a special dog walk for you tonight. Now, you might remember this story from December. There was 7 pups who were left on the side of the road in Steinbach. I believe that was sometime around Christmas. Well, this is one of those pups who has now been named Bucky. Thank you, Mel, for sending this picture, and thank you for the update. What a handsome boy. He did lose half his tail to frostbite, but I'm sure that his big heart makes up for all of that. So please keep sending your pictures in to me, especially ones like this. These ones just warm my heart. Talk back at cbc.ca. So up to 7 degrees through the afternoon tomorrow. Looking at winds, breezy at times. I mean, we did start to see that wind backing off, and we'll see things fairly calm to start the day, but then we do get a bit of wind back in tomorrow. I'm calling it a mix of sun and clouds, although there will be times when we get back into some of that cloud cover once again. All right, you may have seen earlier in the show, I was talking a bit about that potential switch or that potential canceling of our time changes. Well, here's a look at our sunset tracker. So this is what we're looking at over the next few weeks of our sunsets right now. So tomorrow, 8:44, past the 9 o'clock hour by the time we get to May 13th, and close to 9:15 by May 20th. If we made that change to year-round standard time, -1 hour to all of these values on the screen here. So by May 20th, we'd be looking at sunsets closer to 8:15, for example. So just a bit of a reality check on what that would mean in terms of the actual time the sun sets in the evening as we go through the spring and the days start to get longer here. Looking at your forecast through the overnight hours across the south, temperatures around -2, -3. Usually for this time of the year, we should be around the +2, +3 mark across southern Manitoba. Some cloud cover. We'll start to get some clearing. Northern Manitoba, though, stuck in the cloud cover through the overnight hours tonight. -8 in Thompson and Shamattawa. Norway House at -4, getting up to +4 in Norway House through the afternoon. That cloud does start to push out as we get through the afternoon hours tomorrow. The wind starts to light up. Maybe a couple of stray scattered flurries or rain showers in northwestern parts of the province. Again, a mix of sun and clouds across the south tomorrow. More cloud than sun at times through the day. Temperatures getting up to 7s and 8s across the south, and looking at things around 4 degrees through Kenora and Dryden. Brittany.
Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
When it comes to mental health, more people are openly talking about their struggles and well-being. But for some, it's still not an easy topic. According to the Canadian Mental Health Association, in Manitoba, 10% of youth and 17% of teens experience significant mental health addictions or struggles, and suicide is the leading cause of deaths for kids aged 10 through 17. Kids Help Phone is a confidential and safe space for youth to reach out, and more kids than ever are taking that step. Diana Martin is a senior director with the organization and joins me now. Diana, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
How often are young people asking for help?
We see the numbers keep going up. We know that last year alone, we had about 85,000 interactions with young people just from the province of Manitoba.
What kinds of conversations are happening with kids that are calling and texting in? What are they dealing with?
I think it would be surprising to know for a lot of people is that it's any issue that you could imagine a young person facing, and very often multiple at the same time. So what we tend to hear the most about from young people are themes around stress and anxiety. Relationships are a really huge one, whether that's friends or family. Feelings of depression. But I think one of the things that is surprising, I think, for a lot of people to know is that actually young people can call Kids Help Phone about anything. It doesn't have to be that they feel in crisis in that moment, because it's actually really good for young people to reach out maybe before things are in crisis and sort of build that experience of being able to talk to someone.
One thing that really took me aback was how often kids are calling about self-harm. Your team has reported a 43% increase in suicide-related interaction among kids 12 and under last year. What do those shocking numbers tell you?
I think they show us that young people really are struggling right now, and that it is really complex. And I think what is good is that so many of them are reaching out, but we know that not all of them are. And so having opportunities like this to be able to speak to young people and caring adults to let them know about us is so important, because we really do want any young person who is struggling and doesn't really know where to ask for support, or even how maybe to ask people in their lives. We want them to know that Kids Help Phone is here to be able to support them through that.
We've been talking a lot about social media and kids and the harms that can be done. Manitoba in particular looking to be the first in Canada to ban it for kids 16 and under. So based on the work your team does, I just want to get some of your thoughts on that, or what you think about it.
Yeah, we hear so much from young people who are struggling with the online world and with social media, and it could be abuse that they're facing through that. It could be bullying that they're facing. There's so many different issues. I think one of the things that we see from young people is they're so inundated with everything that's happening in the world, and it can be really difficult to be away from it. When it comes to things like social media, it becomes such a big part of young people's lives. And so on the one hand, they might think, I need to step away for a little bit because I need a break from this. But on the other hand, so much in their lives is happening online. And so it really puts young people in a difficult spot, even if they know that maybe they need to take a bit of a step back for themselves because something is happening that they're really uncomfortable with online. So it's a really tricky thing for young people to navigate. Adults have a hard time with it sometimes, and so kids definitely do.
Why do you think some people are more comfortable calling or texting a line like Kids Help than speaking to a parent or a friend?
You know, what we hear a lot from young people is a lot of young people can actually identify somebody in their life. It could be a family member, a friend, a teacher, a coach. And so many young people can actually identify those people in their lives that they'd like to open up to, that they'd like to talk to, but it's so scary because they don't know how are they going to react, what are they going to say. And so often they call us because we are that person they can't see, that doesn't know them, and they want to talk that through. In those kinds of situations, we can actually work with the young person around, how can you approach them? What would you say? What would you like them to know about what you'd like to have happen in the conversation? So that's one thing. Other young people just aren't sure who they can ask. They might not feel that there's anybody who's really going to listen and hear what they have to say. And so when they call Kids Help Phone, our role isn't to tell them what to do. It's to hear about what is going on for them, what they're experiencing. And then what we try to do is actually work with that young person to figure out what abilities and strengths and talents and skills do they already have that they can actually put to use to address whatever the issue they're facing is. And so for somebody who's maybe not sure if they have anybody to have that conversation with, we're often a first point of contact. And for many young people, the first person they talk to about the issues they're facing.
It's a great reminder. Help is always there. Please reach out. Diana, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Still ahead, Fascinator's finger food and a fresh pot of tea. How seniors and students are sharing some quality time together when we come back. Stay with us.
All right, I thought I'd have a quick peek at the almanac to show you what things could be as we head into the very end of April here. So today, 6 degrees. I was forecasting 7. Normally, we should be around 15, but have a look at our record high for this time of the year. Or this day. Maybe this is a bit excessive. 33 degrees back in 1952 and minus 12 back in 1907. So things certainly could be vastly different. Looking at 7s for Wednesday, Thursday, through the city. 15 into Friday, a mostly sunny sky, up to 19 for Saturday, and I'm still watching a chance of showers that we could get as we get into early next week. Students at a Montreal high school are making some new friends, Brittany, with their neighbors.
They shared a pot of tea and finger sandwiches, all in an effort to bridge a generational divide in their community. CBC's Gabriel Gindi has our daily lift.
This isn't your normal high tea. Yes, finger foods are being served, and of course tea is being poured. But at John Rennie High School in Montreal's Pointe Claire, the high tea for West Island seniors is much more than that.
Being able to be with the elderly population and kind of build a relationship with them is really good. So having that connection is really what makes it worth it.
The goal is to bridge the intergenerational gap and challenge stereotypes on both sides.
The only reason why people think that stereotypes exist is because they don't want to take the time to sit down and actually talk with like a senior. Because obviously the seniors, the girls have stereotypes about us. They think that teenagers can't listen, they're rambunctious, they're crazy. But if you actually just sit down, you'll realize that we're all just nice people and we all just want to have a conversation at the end of the day.
Some of the seniors even busted a few moves, like Dorothy Brophy. She's about to turn 98 years old and stays active by golfing 3 times a week. She says that she loves the camaraderie with the youth. That sentiment is felt among all who are taking part.
They're very inclusive with each other and with the older people. They're wonderful.
Everybody here, they're all, dressed up and, excited, and that's the best thing it could be.
Gabriel Gindi, CBC News, Pointe Claire.
Okay, I want a hat, and I want to be Dorothy and Maureen's friend.
I feel like Dorothy could run circles around me any day of the week.
She's fabulous.
I know.
I love the idea.
She golfs 3 times a week.
Right? She needs to share her secrets. We love
Absolutely.
it. I'd love to see something like that happening here.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful night. We will be back here tomorrow night. See you then.
See ya.